The Order... We have to reach the Empress before Corypheus. The only question is, how?
We know how. I have our way in. The real question is, where is our enemy hiding? At the urging of Grand Duchess Florian, the Empress is holding a ball. Absolutely everyone will be there. During the festivities, Celine will be meeting for peace talks with the usurper Duke Gaspard and Ambassador Briala.
The assassin must be hiding within one of these factions.
Do we need to go to the peace talks? The Empress must have personal guards. We could just warn her she's in danger.
We've made the attempt, but...
It seems that our messages never reached her. Someone intercepted them.
It's better that we don't leave this to chance. If Orlais falls to Corypheus, no land is safe.
Tell me everything we know about the Empress.
Empress Celine is a renowned diplomat and reformer. She works tirelessly to secure peace for the Empire. Unfortunately, many Orlesians view peace as complacency. She has yet to name an heir, leaving the future of the Empire in doubt if anything happens to her. Especially when the next in line is her cousin Gaspard, who's made few friends on the Council of Heralds.
Celine is surrounded at all times by countless guards, courtiers, servants, and vassals. What better place for an assassin to hide than the Empress's own household?
How can Gaspard still be next in line while he wages war against his Empress?
The title Grand Duke indicates that he was a prince before the Empress took the throne.
What do we know about Duke Gaspard?
The man who would have been Emperor. He's Celine's cousin, and was first in line to inherit the throne when Emperor Florian died. Celine outmaneuvered him. She won over the Council of Heralds, who hold authority over title disputes. She became Empress, and he a general in the Imperial Army. He's well loved by the troops. He's also a Chevalier. Most of their number sided with him when he turned on the Empress.
Aren't the Chevaliers part of the army? Why would they follow the Duke?
Most Chevaliers are sworn to serve the crown, but that does not give them faith in the person wearing it. The Empress has tried to improve relations with Ferelden and Navarra. The Chevaliers see her as anti-military. They believe Gaspard could lead the Empire back to the glory of Draken's expansion years.
Who is this Ambassador Briala?
An ambassador in name only. She has organized the elves of Halam Sharal into an underground army. The Empress invited her to the peace talks in a bid to gain the elves' alliance in the war. That would be scandal enough, without the rumor that Briala is a jilted lover of Celine's. A personal grudge and a network of saboteurs at her command. Promising lead.
Wait, the elven leader is a jilted lover of the Empress.
It's not widely known. Just a rumor whispered among the palace servants a few years ago. If it's true and were to get out, the Empress and an elf. The scandal could destroy Celine's court. Even if a lie, Briala could use it to blackmail the Empress. She has some connection to the throne.
You've given me plenty to think about.
With Gaspard and Celine's armies entrenched, we cannot openly march troops to the palace.
My agents will ensure your soldiers get inside. But it must be a few at a time to avoid attention.
Understood. Just give the word, and we'll begin.
The political situation in Halam Shiral hangs by a thread. The Empress fears our presence could sever it. The Grand Duke is only too happy to have us at the ball as his guests, so our invitation comes from him. Whether we act as his allies or upset the balance of power, he gains an opportunity, if not a clear advantage.
It is a great pleasure to meet you, Inquisitor Lavellen. Bringing the rebel mages into the ranks of your army was a brilliant move. Imagine what the Inquisition could accomplish with the full support of the rightful Emperor of Orlais.
I can see many benefits to such an alliance.
Keep the image firmly in mind. We may see it materialize by the end of the evening. I am not a man who forgets his friends, Inquisitor. You help me, I'll help you. My lady, are you prepared to shock the court by walking into the Grand Ball with a hateful usurper? They will be telling stories of this into the next age.
I can't imagine that crowd has seen anything better than us in their entire lives.
You're a woman after my own heart, my lady. As a friend, perhaps there is a matter you could undertake this evening. This elven woman, Briala, I suspect that she intends to disrupt the negotiations. My people have found these ambassadors all over the fortifications. Sabotage seems the least of their crimes.
Tell me there's more to your suspicion than the elves were acting dodgy.
That Ambassador Briala used to be a servant of Celine's. That is, until my cousin had her arrested for crimes against the Empire to cover up a political mistake. If anyone in this room wishes Celine harm, Inquisitor, it's that elf. She certainly has reason. Be as discreet as possible. I detest the game, but if we do not play it well, our enemies will make us look like villains. We're keeping the court waiting, Inquisitor. Shall we?
Is that the Inquisitor?
An elf savage? Oh, Maker forbid!
This is Caspard's idea of a joke.
You there! Rabbit! Have you seen a ring anywhere? It was a gift from the Countess Montbelliard, enchanted by the Fomari. I cannot go into the ball without it.
Is this ring particularly valuable?
Its worth in coin is not as important as its social value. It was a gift from a member of the Council of Heralds. If she finds out I lost it, she will never forgive me. Not even if I live to be 1,000 years old.
What's your game? Are you trying to convince the Countess that you treasure her gift? Or just to gain importance by getting the Inquisitor to run a menial errand for you?
I assure you, the ring truly is lost. And I must find it or risk terrible repercussions. Should you happen upon it, I beg you, let me know. Maker, what am I going to do if I cannot find my ring?
Is this the ring you are looking for?
You are a treasure. I cannot believe you found it. You have saved me a lifetime of mortification. How can I thank you enough?
Is that the Inquisitor?
A Dalish? No, that cannot be.
This is a private conversation. Please, leave. Any word from the front lines?
My spies said the bodies were beyond counting.
Surely the Empress will put an end to the war tonight.
Pray, my friend. If the Maker does not hear us now, just pray.
It's been too long since I've had any word from Valois. It's been too long since I've had any word from Valois.
Inquisitor, a moment, if you please. I must warn you before you go inside. How you speak to the court is a matter of life and death. It is no simple matter of etiquette and protocol. Every word, every gesture is measured and evaluated for weakness.
Don't they sound delightful? I'm shocked we haven't invited the court to dinner at Skyhold.
The game is like Wicked Grace played to the death. You must never reveal your cards. When you meet the Empress, the eyes of the entire court will be upon you. You are safer staring down Corypheus.
It might be a good idea for the others to hear this warning. The bull in particular.
I'll have a few discreet words. Everything will be fine. Andraste, watch over us all.
I wish there was more news coming from the Grand Cathedral.
Good news is becoming an increasingly rare commodity.
I need to have this jacket let out a little.
Why are there so many elves here?
The Empress invited them. Be polite.
I had hoped to tour the Royal Wing Gardens again.
I have heard they are the finest in the Empire. It's such a pity the wing is sealed.
Well, that's useful.
I heard the Grand Duke invited the Inquisition here.
Just gossip.
Can Gaspard take the throne without the backing of the Council of Heralds?
He plans to take it by force. If the Council won't recognize him, he'll march against them.
had no idea.
And now presenting Grand Duke Gaspard de Chalon, and accompanying him, Lady Inquisitor Lavellen. Vanquisher of the rebel mages of Ferelden, crusher of the vile apostates of the Mage Underground, champion of the blessed Andraste herself.
Did you see their faces? Priceless.
Accompanying the Inquisitor, Lord Dorian Pavus, member of the Circle of Arantium, son of Lord Magister Hallwood Pavus of Azariel, the Iron Bull, leader of the famed mercenary company Bull's Chargers, as the name might imply. Sir Callan Stanton Rutherford of Honleaf, commander of the forces of the Inquisition, former Knight Commander of Kirkwall. Lady Liliana, Nightingale of the Imperial Court, veteran of the Fifth Blight, Seneschal of the Inquisition, and Left Hand of the Divine. And Lady Josephine Charette Montillier of Antiva City, Ambassador of the Inquisition.
Cousin, my dear sister.
Grand Duke, we are always honored when your presence graces our court.
Don't waste my time with pleasantries, Celine. We have business to conclude.
We will meet for the negotiations after we have seen to our other guests.
Inquisitor?
Lady Inquisitor, we welcome you to the Winter Palace. Allow us to present our cousin, the Grand Duchess of Leeds, without whom this gathering would never have been possible.
What an unexpected pleasure. I was not aware the Inquisition would be part of our festivities. We will certainly speak later, Inquisitor.
Your arrival at court is like a cool wind on a summer's day.
Let's hope the breeze does not herald an oncoming storm.
Even the wisest mistake fair winds for foul. We are at the mercy of the skies, Inquisitor. How do you find Halam Shiral?
I have no words to suffice. Halam Shiral has many beauties, and I couldn't do them justice.
Your modesty does you credit, and speaks well for the Inquisition. Feel free to enjoy the pleasures of the ballroom, Inquisitor. We look forward to watching you dance.
Inquisitor, a word when you have a moment.
Tell me, Yvette, how are Mama and Papa? Are they in good health? Or anything?
Papa's perfectly happy with you.
I heard the
Mother
Inquisition was here.
is the same as
You're
always.
too gullible. Meaning she's after you to do more work.
You always take her side.
I don't take her side. I happen to think, as she does, you might attend to more of the estate's duties. Also, do stop slouching.
Josephine! Oh, Josephine! Is this her?
Inquisitor, please allow me to present to you my younger sister, Yvette Gabriella Montillier.
Delighted to meet you, Lady Montillier.
Inquisitor, I've heard so much about you, but not as much as I want. Josephine writes, but she never tells me anything. Is it true? Rebel mages in Redcliffe were performing blood rites and orgies before you stopped them.
Where did you hear such nonsense?
Everyone in Antiva says so. Is it true?
Of course, every word. Especially the parts where everyone was nude.
I knew it.
This may be my only chance to hear about when Josephine was a girl.
Oh yes, as she told you about when she was 10 and...
Yvette, stop.
Fine. What about when we were climbing the cliffs by the...
No.
She once told the Duke of...
Absolutely not.
She still plays with her doll collection when no one's looking.
Yvette, that's absurd. Absolutely preposterous.
Enjoying the ball?
I see many of...
The dancing is so dull, Your Worship. But the Empress's gallery is magnificent.
Yvette.
Sorry, Josie.
Go on, Josephine.
Half Royal must be empty. So many of the Empire's finest are in attendance. They've noticed the Empress paying you special attention, but they don't quite know how to take advantage of it yet. This uncertainty won't last long, I'm afraid.
I'll see you later.
Another time.
Can you believe the Inquisition fill its ranks with apostates?
You just know that will end badly.
I heard Celine was having the entire wing redecorated, but the timing is atrocious.
Why would she do such a thing now?
Good. I was hoping I would catch you. What did the Duke say?
He points the finger at Ambassador Briala.
The ambassador is up to something, but she can't be our focus. The best place to strike at Celine is from her side. Empress Celine is fascinated by mysticism, foreseeing the future, speaking with the dead, that sort of rubbish. She has an occult advisor, an apostate who charmed the Empress and key members of the court as if by magic. I've had dealings with her in the past. She is ruthless and capable of anything.
How can Celine openly keep an apostate in the Imperial Court?
The Imperial Court has always had an official position for a mage. Before now, it was little better than court jester. Vivian was the first to turn that appointment into a source of real political power. When the Circles rebelled, technically every mage became an apostate. The word lost much of its strength.
You think she's controlling the minds of the court? That's powerful blood magic.
She's worth investigating. Can't be sure of anything here. Both leads point toward the guest wing. It's a promising place to start. I'll coordinate with our spies to see if I can find anything better. I will be in the ballroom if you need me.
Leave us.
Interesting.
The package. guest wing. Upper room.
The one off the garden. Statuette.
Waste of time.
Gaspard is waiting.
Good to know.
Well, well, the Inquisitor. Here as a guest of my nephew, no less. How curious.
I didn't know the Grand Duke was your nephew.
He's my brother's eldest boy. Always a difficult child, Gaspard. Never listened, never did what he was told. He was raised a prince. All his life we told him he would be emperor. It was his destiny, his duty. What else should he do with his life, if not fight for his destiny?
Have you noticed anything strange this evening?
My niece Florian hasn't spoken to me all evening. That's not like her.
What can you tell me about the Civil War?
If you are hoping for insight, you've come to the wrong man. It's war. It is brutal, and terrible, and sometimes necessary. There's nothing more to say.
Another time, my lord.
Inquisitor Llewellyn, don't head into the servants' wing if you value your neck. Not one elf's gone in there tonight and come out again.
Our man was supposed to make a pickup in the garden hours ago. Bastard's likely dead by now.
Philippe should have returned hours ago, dallying with some serving girl while I deal with Gaspard's vitriol.
Awfully selfish of this filly, running off to play and leaving you with all the work.
I've half a mind to inform the Dowager. That would teach him to shirk his duties to roll some elven maid. Tonight of all nights, leaving me to convey Gaspard's death threats to the Council. Wonderful timing, Philippe. Thank you for listening to me rant. You are too kind, Inquisitor.
Did you hear what Gaspard said to Duke Germain? His own uncle.
Germain bore his nephew's spite better than the rest of the council. Did you see that panicked attaché roaming about?
Well, well. What's this?
You got anything that needs killing? Because the nobles keep messing with me and they think I don't know they're doing it. This keeps up, I'm gonna wear somebody's skull as my fancy little mask.
Look at this with the eyes of a Ben Hasrath and tell me what you see.
It's a mess. Everyone's trying so hard to hide that they're walking around in plumage. Makes it tough to spot the dangerous lies, as opposed to the normal stuff. Oh, but that couple over there with the silver masks, the woman's doing one of the nobles, and the guy's doing two different servants.
What do you think of the masks the nobles are wearing?
They're no good as disguises, and they don't cover the mouth or hide body language, so they're not much help for lying. As fashion goes, I don't know. I've seen dumber.
Anything catching your eye?
They've got these candied nuts with some kind of spice on them. It's sweet until you swallow, and then... bam! Hot. Also, Orlais has some fine-looking redheads. I go more for the servants personally. Less makeup. Nothing on the assassins, though.
Talk to you later, Bull.
I'll just stay here and eat.
My lady! My lady Inquisitor!
May we have a word? It is very important.
The Empress has sent us with a message for you.
How can I be certain this message is from the Empress?
We three wear the masks of House Valmont.
They signify that we are public faces of the Empress.
They are also extremely fashionable.
Funny that she couldn't give me this message when we spoke.
Oh, she could not speak freely in front of the entire court, Inquisitor.
Empress Celine is eager to assist the Herald of Andraste in her holy endeavor.
She will pledge her full support to the Inquisition as soon as the usurper Gaspard is defeated.
That's a generous offer.
The Empress believes wholeheartedly that the Inquisition is our best hope for peace in these difficult times.
She looks forward to cementing a formal alliance.
As soon as Gaspard is out of the way.
But we have taken enough of your time.
Please, enjoy the masquerade, Inquisitor.
This is all so familiar. I half expect my mother to materialize from the crowd and criticize my manners.
Is this how the elite of Tevinter carry on?
You could almost mistake this for a soiree in the Imperium. The same double-dealing, elegant poison canapes. It's lacking only a few sacrificial slaves and some blood magic. But the night is still young.
Have you seen anything I should know about?
Did you see what that Marquis is wearing? That suit is a greater crime than anything we're looking for.
What if your mother were actually here? Where'd we be then?
Short one mage after he's dragged out by his earlobe.
I'm having difficulty picturing that.
Picture me a young boy of 5 years then. She certainly always has.
I appreciate that you were willing to come here.
And expose myself to all this exquisite finery and exotic wines? Such hardship.
Not everyone's likely to be friendly. That's all I meant.
It's true. You'd think I smelled of cabbages the way they wrinkle their noses. It's of no concern, but thank you.
Did you need something? You must be mistaken.
No, I'm quite certain it was blood on the tiles.
If they're playing the game, they're not doing it very well. You don't leave evidence if you play to win.
With Gaspard and that elf woman here, the only one playing to win is Celine.
You only say that because you fancy the Empress's pet apostate. It sickens me to think of the chaos those Maleficarum are causing across the Empire.
Even you cannot deny that the Templars abandoned the faithful in their darkest hour. How can you condone that? They are the ones who should be brought to heel, if you ask me.
Did you need something?
Did I hear correctly? If you're interested in bringing the Templars to heel, you may have found an ally.
If that's true, I would welcome an alliance with the Inquisition. I will get in touch with your Lady Nightingale. I have assets that might benefit your cause.
Gentlemen.
Was that her?
The only one to survive the Temple of Sacred Ashes, yes.
Have you heard from your nephew?
Not since his regiment joined the fighting.
Faces talk even when they aren't moving. Silk on satin on skin, always wanting. Chaste, but chaste. Too many.
Are you all right, Cole? You seem distracted. More than usual.
They have faces inside their faces. Lying with a layer that tells the truth. I don't know how to help them.
Have you observed anything happening yet?
A woman tripped on purpose. The man who caught her left the room. They didn't want my help.
What are you doing, Cole?
A fallen fan can cut like a kiss. Hot breath from the wrong boy on the naked nape of the neck. I helped until they made me stop. Now they've all forgotten.
Stay out of trouble, Cole.
Socks get wet when the tide rises. They won't miss just a few.
Stay out of trouble, Cole.
Socks get wet when the tide rises. They won't miss just a few.
Are you all right, Cole? You seem distracted. More than usual.
They have faces inside their faces, lying with a layer that tells the truth. I don't know how to help them.
Stay out of trouble, Cole.
Socks get wet when the tide rises.
That's the bell. I should get back to the ballroom.
They won't miss just a few.
Stay out of trouble, Cole.
Socks get wet when the tide rises. They won't miss just a few.
Have you observed anything happening yet?
Cullen is afraid. They're hunting him, following fear. He shouldn't be here.
Stay out of trouble, Cole.
Socks get wet when the tide rises.
That would be the second bell. Fashionably late now.
Well, well. What have we here? The leader of the new Inquisition, fabled herald of the faith. Delivered from the grasp of the Fade by the hand of blessed Andraste herself. What could bring such an exalted creature here to the Imperial Court, I wonder? Do even you know?
We may never know. Courtly intrigues and all that.
Such intrigues obscure much, but not all. I am Morrigan. Some call me advisor to Empress Celine on matters of the arcane. You have been very busy this evening, hunting in every dark corner of the palace. Perhaps you and I hunt the same prey.
I don't know. Do we?
You are being coy.
I'm being careful.
Not unwise, here of all places. Allow me to speak first, then. Recently I found and killed an unwelcome guest within these very halls. An agent of Tevinter. So I offer you this, Inquisitor. A key found on the Tevinter's body. Where it leads, I cannot say. Yet, if Celine is in danger, I cannot leave her side long enough to search. You can.
You left Celine alone. Is that wise?
I must return to her anon, but she is safe enough. For the moment. 'Twould be a great fool who strikes at her in public in front of all her court and the Imperial Guard.
What's your interest in protecting Empress Celine? Are you her bodyguard?
Do I seem a bodyguard to you? If anything were to happen to Celine, eyes would turn first to her occult advisor, even if they knew otherwise. There are sharks in the water, and I will not fall prey to them. Not now, not ever.
Why did you kill the agent? He might have had useful information.
I would not have slain the man on sight had he not attacked me first. Why? Undoubtedly, I caught him in an illicit act. I did not know from whence he came until after the battle, and regret only that I could not capture him alive. What intentions the Imperium has here, I suspect you know far better than I.
I may find the time to try a door or two.
Proceed with caution, Inquisitor. Enemies abound, and not all of them aligned with Tevinter. What comes next will be most exciting.
Is that the Inquisitor? Do you think she's pretty? Was that really the Herald of Andraste?
I thought she'd be glowing.
Chevalier of the Empire, hero of the Battle of White River.
Laurent was the love of my life. You remember my husband? Poor darling. Killed in the war with Ferelden.
Under Gardener Valmontaigne and paramour to the Duchess.
Do you enjoy music, Commander?
Everyone enjoys music, madam.
Look at Lady Cambien's slippers, trimmed with pearls and emeralds. And those buckles. Toss her into the lake and she'll sink right to the bottom. What a disaster.
There's a Tevinter assassin on the loose and you're concerned about buckles on shoes.
Everyone needs a hobby. Besides, you can learn a great deal about a person from their clothing. Gold and jewels on a dancing slipper. A slipper is easily lost and finds itself in the dust and dirt. She is unconcerned with the possibility of losing the shoe or soiling it. A vulgar display of wealth. But Lady Cambien's family has recently lost most of its holdings. They have their title, but little else. So, how did Cambien acquire such a grand shoe, What has she done? Who has she bedded? These are all useful questions, no?
You're different here than in Skyhold. More approachable, perhaps.
This is Halam Shiral, Inquisitor. This is the Imperial Court. This is the beating heart of the Great Game. Of course, everyone is wearing a mask. I learned this very young. I was still a girl when I attended my first ball. All this, the smiles, the small talk, it is a dance. And like any dance, it can be learned. For some of us, it has become so familiar that the steps may be performed in our sleep.
I found this out. I'm not sure of its value.
Very interesting. It may not help our investigation, but we can put it to use. A little more dirt like this, and we might have some leverage in the court. If you find more, let me know.
I should go. Be on your guard.
I always am.
How could the Empress afford to renovate the palace without war going on?
I heard that it wasn't renovations at all. The palace was damaged by Gaspar's catapults.
He fired on the Winter Palace? That's monstrous.
Inquisitor, did you need something? The sooner we track down this infiltrator, the better.
Have you noticed anything out of the ordinary?
I'll let you know at once if I do.
Do you have any advice?
Orlesian social events don't fall within my area of expertise. There are a few here we can trust. Be careful.
You've attracted a following. Who are all these people?
I don't know, but they won't leave me alone.
Not enjoying the attention, then?
Hardly. Anyway, yours... yours is the only attention worth having.
I don't suppose you'd save a dance for me?
No, thank you.
Oh.
No, I didn't mean to make us breath. I've answered that question so many times, I'm rejecting it automatically. I'm not one for dancing. The Templars never attended balls.
We'll talk later.
I await your suit.
would the Empress invite that elf woman?
The game, of course. Celine has something up her sleeve.
Inquisitor Lavalin, how many of the guests have mistaken you for a kitchen servant? You've charmed some of the nobles. We'll see how long you can keep their favor. What brings you to me?
I want to know more about the peace talks. What can you tell me about Celine and Gaspard?
Gaspard is a warmonger. He served in the war against Ferelden and fought a dozen skirmishes on the Navarran border. He's a simple man. Simple men aren't hard to manipulate. Celine is the voice of reason in the Empire. But reason is cautious. Reason looks for compromise. Reason doesn't choose radical change, however sorely it may be needed.
I had a question about you, Briala.
I'm an elf, Inquisitor. That should tell you everything you need to know about my life. I'm good at what I do. That's all that matters. I will help my people no matter the cost.
What's your story? How is an elf invited to the Empress's ball as an ambassador?
Empress Celine and I have history. There was a time when I put my spies at her disposal. She knows my qualifications. We had a falling out. Now we are negotiating to determine whether I return to her side in the war.
You just told me you have reason to betray the Empress.
I know it's incriminating. Few harbor more resentment against Celine than I. But if she died after inviting me here, the court would certainly pin her death on me. An elf assassinating the Empress? Alienages across Orlais, across all Thedas, would be purged. That cannot happen.
We'll speak more later, Ambassador.
Another time, Inquisitor.
Duke Gaspard has made a fortunate alliance.
I wonder if the Lady Inquisitor agrees.
Are you happy to see me at all, Josie?
It may not have been wise to attend this particular engagement, Yvette.
I didn't want to come. Mother made me. At least Haram Sharal has such pretty gardens. They're so darling. I took out my parchment.
Not another book of poetry.
We can only hope Celine prevails tonight. Gaspard will ruin us all. Is it true the Inquisitor was headed out of the Fade by Andraste? Where are Alban and Colette?
Who cares? Is that Marquis Etienne? He's fiendishly handsome.
Gaspard is wasting his time. Nothing he does could win over the Council of Heralds now.
Should have considered that before threatening to burn them all in their homes.
Waste of time.
Has anyone seen Lucien? He was supposed to have the servers in the ballroom almost an hour ago.
This could be worth checking out.
Breath painful, stabbing, and then real stabbing. Lungs full, frothing, scent of apples as it all goes black.
Death by Apple Pie, a lovely poem by our dear friend Cole.
Must be the elves Briala's people are looking for. Something here. Better take a closer look. This was no servant. What was he doing here?
He doesn't belong. Even if he weren't dead, he would be wrong.
Is that the Chalon family crest? What have you been up to, Gaspard?
Time to have a word with the Duke. Venatori agents! That must be the Venatori leader.
The warrior!
The Venatori were watching this approach. They're organized.
Praetori!
Goodbye!
Get ready!
Fancy meeting you here. Shouldn't you be dancing, Inquisitor? What will the nobility say?
No doubt there's a line of people breathlessly waiting for dances with me.
I wouldn't be surprised if there was. You cleaned this place out. Will take a month to get all the Tevinter blood off the marble. I came down to save or avenge my missing people. But you've beaten me to it. So, the Council of Herald's emissary in the courtyard. That's not your work, is it?
He was dead when I arrived.
I expected as much. You may have arrived with the Grand Duke, but you don't seem to be doing his dirty work. I knew he was smuggling his chevaliers. But killing a council emissary? Bringing Tevinter assassins into the palace? Those are desperate acts. Gaspard must be planning to strike tonight.
Are you sure he's behind this? He was too easygoing for a man plotting treason.
Don't let his charm blind you. He's Orlesian. That smile is his mask. I misjudged you, Inquisitor. You might just be an ally worth having. What could you do with an army of elven spies at your disposal? You should think about it.
What do I have to give you in exchange for this army of spies?
Help me, help our people. I know which way the wind is blowing. I'd bet coin that you'll be part of the peace talks before the night is over. And if you happen to lean a little bit our way, it could prove advantageous to us both. Just a thought.
Haha, this is great. Even the elves are trying to bribe you.
There's so much conniving and backstabbing here. Makes me homesick.
In your debt, Inquisitor.
Head back to the ballroom. We'll handle this.
We are not serving drinks. Bother someone else.
Did you see that knife-eared servant girl in the kitchen? The ginger.
Keep talking. I am starting to believe I was there.
I need to get one of those.
Don't we all?
Is it true what they say? You're the Inquisitor, are you not? We heard stories of your accomplishments.
I'd wager I have better tales than anything you've heard.
I told you, Philippe.
Not everyone fights an archdemon and lives to tell. It's an inspiration.
I'm curious. What did you hear about the fight with the Archdemon?
They say the army of the Inquisition fought a desperate stand at Haven against the forces of an old god. In the thick of battle, you crossed swords with evil itself. The enemy had you outnumbered and cornered, and you cast down a mountain upon the Archdemon and escaped.
Even if a tenth of that is true, it's a remarkable feat.
If you'd like, Commander Cullen could give you all the details of that battle. He's in the ballroom.
Really? But I shouldn't leave my post.
You'd only be gone a moment.
Philippe, the world is coming to an end. If we don't hear this story now, we'll never have a chance.
You're right. Thank you, Inquisitor. Let's go.
I should look around.
Inquisitor Lavalin. We met briefly. I am Grand Duchess Floriane de Chalon. Welcome to my party.
Why am I not at all surprised that you want to see me now?
This is Orlais, Inquisitor. Nothing happens by accident. I believe tonight you and I are both concerned by the actions of a certain person. Come, dance with me. Spies will not hear us on the dance floor.
I'm already taken, Your Grace.
Your lover has nothing to fear. This is business, not pleasure. Have the Dalish gained a sudden passion for politics? What do you know about our civil war?
What do you think I ought to know?
My brother and my dear cousin have been at each other's throats for too long.
It took great effort to arrange tonight's negotiations. Yet one party would use this occasion for blackest treason. The security of the Empire is at stake. Neither one of us wishes to see it fall.
Do we both want that, Lady Florian?
I hope we are of one mind on this.
In times like these, it's hard to tell friend from foe. Is it not, Your Grace?
I know you arrived here as a guest of my brother Gaspard, and have been everywhere in the palace. You are a curiosity to many, Inquisitor, and a matter of concern to some.
Am I the curiosity or the concern to you, Your Grace?
A little of both, actually. This evening is of great importance, Inquisitor. I wonder what role you will play in it. Do you even yet know who is friend and who is foe? Who in the court can be trusted?
I only trust the Inquisition. It's every woman for herself here in the Imperial Court. Or so I've heard.
In the Winter Palace, everyone is alone. It cannot have escaped your notice that certain parties are engaged in dangerous machinations tonight.
I thought dangerous machinations were the national sport in Orlais.
You have little time. The attack will come soon. You must stop Gaspard before he strikes. In the Royal Wing Garden, you will find the captain of my brother's mercenaries. He knows all Gaspard's secrets. I'm sure you can persuade him to be forthcoming.
We'll see what the night has in store, won't we?
You'll be the talk of the court for months. We should take you dancing more often.
I'd happily do more dancing, just not with Corypheus.
I promise not to invite him to your next ball.
Were you dancing with Duchess Florian?
More importantly, what happened in the servants' quarters? I heard there was fighting.
I hope you have good news. It appears the peace talks are crumbling.
The Grand Duchess tried to convince me Gaspard is the traitor, but I'm not sure I buy it.
Florian and her brother are thick as thieves, but she would give him up in an instant to save herself.
Then, the attack on the Empress will happen tonight.
Warning Celine is pointless. She needs these talks to succeed, and to flee would admit defeat.
Then perhaps we should let her die.
I won't stand by and let her die.
Listen to me carefully, Inquisitor. What Corypheus wants is chaos. Even with Celine alive, that could still happen. To foil his plan, the Empire must remain strong. This evening, someone must emerge victorious.
And it doesn't need to be Celine. She's right.
Do you realize what you're suggesting, Leliana?
Sometimes the best path is not the easiest one.
You're asking me to decide what's best for Orlais?
More than that, whoever controls the Imperial throne will affect all of Thedas.
You cannot stop Corypheus without a decision. You must support someone, or all is lost.
Then we should support Celine. She is the rightful ruler. Why would we say otherwise?
Because she led Orlais to this point. I say Gaspard, provided his sister is wrong about him.
I would suggest Briala. She could bring true peace, not only to the Empire, but also to its elves.
This is, however, your decision, Inquisitor, not ours.
I can't decide this. Not yet.
You must. Even inaction is a decision, Inquisitor.
You could speak to Celine in the ballroom, but she won't act. Not without proof.
If Gaspard is guilty, he'll admit nothing. If he's innocent, he knows nothing. We need the truth.
What did Duchess Floriane tell you?
She said Gaspard's mercenary captain is in the Royal Wing, that he knows about the assassination.
Which could be a trap.
Or a lead. Either way, you should search the private quarters in that wing for clues.
Then get me access, and in the meantime, get your soldiers into position.
At once. Be careful, Inquisitor.
It's been too long since I've had any word from Valois.
I have an idea, Josephine. You should invite all the family.
Casualties in the Dales.
My friend, come in, have a drink. What can I do for you? You've been busily charming the court, I see.
I have a question about the peace talks. The Grand Duchess says you're plotting to kill Celine.
Resorting to rumor-mongering, Inquisitor? Come, we are beyond such childish stratagems. My sister would never say that. There are no words to convince me that Floriane would turn on me.
I understand you're a chevalier. I've undergone similar training.
Ah, yes. A popular topic of conversation.
Oh?
You may not wear the title, but to study. You'd be more of a scandal were it not for Brihala.
I may not look the part of a knight, but I respect the discipline and skill required.
Such reserve. You've taken up the sword in pursuit of glory. What could be nobler? Come, my lady. My comrades in arms are rarely so charming. Find a drink, and we shall toast to it.
We'll speak later, Duke Gaspard.
Another time, friend.
It's been too long since I've had any word from Valois.
I would love to hear about your time in Kirkwall, Commander.
Another time, perhaps.
Mistress Nightingale, what a pleasure to see you again. You look radiant.
Marquis, it's been far too long. How's your family in Valchevin?
No complaints, my dear, no complaints. You must come to the chateau to see the girls. They will be overjoyed.
Oh, I've missed them very much. Little Sylvie must be 10 now, no?
11, and already up to my elbow. Oh, how they grow.
Perhaps I shall call on you soon.
Excellent. Now I must dance with the Dowager. It was lovely to see you, my dear.
Ugh. So many crimes of fashion.
I found this out. I'm not sure of its value.
The things courtiers get up to.
You are an interesting one. A Dalish in the Winter Palace. More genteel than the Grand Duke. That's put this lot in their place, hasn't it?
Have you noticed anything odd this evening?
Too few Imperial guards stand in attendance, my dear. A shame. They are so pleasantly decorative.
I'd like your opinion of this gathering, milady.
It's doomed to fail, of course. Celine knows that. At least it should be amusing. We haven't had such a menagerie at court in living memory.
Good evening, milady.
Duke Gaspard wants another bottle of brandy. We'd better have 2 or 3 at the ready.
I am not talking to you until we get home.
Fine by me.
Gaspard is wasting his time. Nothing he does could win over the Council of Heralds.
You should have considered that before threatening to burn them.
Does anyone have a report on the casualties in the deaths?
Gaspard is wasting his time. Nothing he does could win over the Council of Heralds now.
You should have considered that before threatening to burn them all in their homes.
Did you hear what Gaspard said to Germain? His own uncle.
Germain bore his nephew's spite better than the rest of the council.
Is it my imagination? Or are there more Inquisition honor guards now than there were before?
You're seeing things.
Boring. Good to know.
Inquisitor Lavellan, is there something I can do for you?
I am Lady Marcelette, court historian to Her Imperial Majesty.
What exactly does a court historian do?
I am responsible for the historical records of the court. I maintain our library and record all official proceedings.
Are you here to chronicle the events of the evening for posterity?
Oh, yes! This is a momentous occasion. The first meeting between the Grand Duke and Her Majesty since the war began. Even if, Maker forbid, the talks should fail, it is an important moment in the history of the Empire.
Good evening, Lady Marcelette.
Another time, perhaps.
I had no idea.
Is it true the Inquisitor was handed out of the faith I entrusted?
Gaspard is wasting his time. Nothing he does could win over the Council of Heralds now. He should have...
I had no idea.
I cannot believe you danced 4 times with Cyril de Montfort.
I cannot believe you did not dance at all. You spent the entire evening drinking port and glowering like a Ferelden turnip.
We should have stayed at home. This was such a mistake.
How does things look out there? Are the negotiations over yet?
Both the Empress and my third husband, Pierre, lost his life to
Yeah, such...
I swore of marriage
So many crimes
forever.
of fashion. I found this out. I'm not sure of its value.
We can use this.
Maximilian swept me at my feet.
Her Grace's Chamberlain has disappeared as usual.
Did I see you talking to Duke Cyril de Montfort?
I was merely being polite. Unlike some people.
Don't give me that. I've seen the way he looks at you.
Interesting. Well, that's useful.
My dear Maximilian, it took 4 chevaliers to hunt down the man who killed him.
So many crimes of fashion. I found this out. I'm not sure of its value.
They'll never live this down.
Oh, sweet Gérard, my people.
So, even Liliana thought this place was dangerous and you wanted to just walk in here. This party is looking up.
Hello? Is anyone there? Somebody? Anybody?
What happened?
It's not what it looks like. Honestly, I would have preferred it if it were what it looks like. The Empress led me to believe I would be rewarded for betraying the Grand Duke. This was not what I hoped for.
I can imagine what you thought your reward would be.
Please, I beg you, don't tell Gaspard. The Empress beguiled me into giving her information about plans for troop movements in the palace tonight. She knows everything. Everything. The Duke's surprise attack has been countered before it ever began. She's turned it into a trap. The moment he strikes, she'll have him arrested for treason.
Classic, honeypot.
Oh, Orlesians.
I'll protect you from Gaspard if you're willing to testify about Celine's trap.
I'll do anything. Anything.
Stay back!
Oh, thank you. I hope you're not disappointed I stole your dance partner.
No, not at all. No one's supposed to be here. Briala said... Oh, I shouldn't have trusted her.
Briala told you to come to this wing of the palace.
Not personally. The ambassador can't be seen talking to the servants. We get coded messages at certain locations, but the order came from her. She's been watching the Grand Duke all night. No surprise she wanted someone to search his sister's room.
So this room belongs to Grand Duchess Floriane?
It used to. This had been her private room in Halam Shiral since she was a child. But this part of the palace was damaged, and the royal family moved to the guest wing.
Is there anyone else who knows the code and the drop location who could have written those orders?
I don't know. Any of us could do it, but... No. No one else could send me here. It had to be Briala.
What were you trying to find in Floriane's old room?
The message didn't say. I should have known it was a setup.
This wing is sealed. How did you get in here?
Easy. The door was unlocked. One of the others probably handled it.
It takes great courage to come to the royal wing unarmed.
It's not courage to blindly follow Briala's orders into a trap. I knew her. Before. When she was Celine's pet. Now she wants to play revolution, but I remember. She was sleeping with the Empress who purged our alienage.
Would you be willing to testify to that, if I asked?
Absolutely. If the Inquisition will protect me, I'll tell you everything I know about our ambassador.
Most Orlesians would say that's Celine's scandal, not Briala's.
Go to the ballroom. Find Commander Cullen. He'll keep you safe.
Thank you. Make her protect you, Inquisitor.
You were acquainted with my darling Erwin, weren't you?
Yeah.
I still cannot believe
So many crimes of fashion.
We should never have
I found this out. I'm not sure of its value.
This is good work.
I told my seventh husband, for now.
What's the situation?
There was an incident. Gaspard is wasting his time. Nothing he does could win over the Council of Heralds now.
You should have considered that before threatening to burn them all in their homes.
Did you hear what Gaspard said to Duke Germain? His own uncle.
Germain bore his nephew's spite better than the rest of the council. Did you see that panicked attaché roaming about? It's been too long since I've had any word from Valoyaux. It's been too long since I've had any word from Valoyaux.
Gaspard is wasting his time. Nothing he does could win over the Council of Heralds now.
You should have considered that before threatening to burn them all in their homes.
Where is that lazy elf? I sent him down to the cellar.
And
for more
my
wine
eighth
hours
husband,
ago.
Nazaire, tragically crushed by a cartload of fine handbags.
Ugh. So many crimes of fashion.
I should go. Be on your guard.
I always am. Ugh. So many crimes of fashion.
I found this out. I'm not sure of its value.
This is good work.
I'm still in mourning for my beloved Etienne.
I am not talking to you until we get home.
Fine by me.
How are the talks proceeding?
They remind me of the assembly of Barcelona.
It can't be that bad.
Does anyone have a report on the casualties in the days?
Gaspard is wasting his time. Nothing he does could win over the Council of Heralds now.
Should have considered that before threatening to burn them all in their homes.
How many are inside the palace now?
You until we get home.
Fine by me.
is that lazy elf?
Gaspard
I sent
is
him
waiting.
down to the cellar for more wine hours ago.
Gaspard is wasting his time. Nothing he does could win over the Council of Heralds now.
He should have considered that before threatening to burn them all in their homes.
Where is that lazy elf? I sent him down to the cellar for more wine.
I am not talking to you until we get home.
Fine by me.
I'm thinking trap. Yes, definitely. Thinking trap. Yes, definitely.
You painted Orlesian assholes! When I get out of this, I'll butcher you like the pigs you are!
Let's look around.
So, even Liliana thought this place was dangerous and you wanted to just walk in here. This party is looking up.
Gaspard is wasting his time. Nothing he does could win over.
Inquisitor.
What a pleasant surprise.
Perhaps you could tell me about the Council of Heralds. What is its purpose?
Of course, my lady. The Council of Heralds exists to oversee the inheritance and creation of new titles of nobility.
Titles outside the royal family are not recognized at court, but they remain part of ancient estates. In the event that there is no clear inheritor to an estate, it falls to us to decide the case.
You haven't seen anything unusual tonight, have you?
Nothing could be more peculiar than Gaspard and Selene dancing together.
Now that you mention it, the royal wing is sealed, and no one knows why.
A great pity. The garden in that part of the palace is exquisite.
Another time, perhaps.
There's 3 stacks of silver rings, and you have to move all the... But if I take the fox across with a second ring... No, that won't work.
Stick with it. You'll figure it out.
And one of them always lies.
Just give up.